We live in a very distracted world.
I'm sorry, what?
So what are you going to do to stop the scroll on Facebook? Duh.
Society's family unit is in crisis as less and less people are making the commitment of a lifelong partnership together. It has been normalized, encouraged, and easier than ever to just throw in the towel when the going gets tough. With time at a premium, start by spending 20 minutes per week gaining thought-provoking inspiration towards a journey of self-improvement, ultimately improving your marriage, your family, your health, and your home. Tune into this discussion as we do our first ever reaction episode. A few weeks ago, we posted an episode regarding femininity, and we received a lot of feedback on social media. Today, we will discuss our reactions to those comments and how it relates to our podcast episode. What did we take away from all of this, and how do we respond going forward?
We feel like we may have struck a chord with our recent post.
Maybe.
Regarding femininity. We boosted this post, meaning used advertisement money, for the episode on Facebook. Just a little bit, guys. Like $50.
Just a few states.
Just a few states.
Wasn't nationwide.
And it received the most comments and engagement that we've had in the 30 plus episodes that we've done. We want to grow our podcast followers and have more interactions, but we also want to remember the purpose of our podcast. The Family Order podcast is about family, marriage, health, and home. Those are our 4 pillars. We want to really build on our family's core values and how we find order in today's world. We must all find balance that works for us. Our podcast isn't necessarily about building a movement, but rather to be able to have discussions with communities or groups of people that share some of the same values. There's no effort to recruit people or lecture anyone about anything. If nothing else, it's an audio diary of our thoughts and ramblings with each other. If people don't like it, they don't have to listen. That's the great thing about having the freedom to choose.
There was certainly one comment that stuck out, and it accurately described what we were trying to convey with our last episode about femininity. And it stated that femininity and masculinity are beautiful things, and they work very well to complement one another. Who'd have thunk it, right? It seemed like a lot of commenters weren't very interested in real discussion or in learning anything.
We call those trolls.
Yes, don't feed the trolls. Some posts were supportive, but most were just about stirring the pot, really, or stating their opinion on something in a few short words. There were a lot of other posts that were just random or confusing that made no sense. We didn't know how to respond.
A lot of them wanted to respond with a GIF of confusion.
Yeah.
But that's not the most professional way to respond to
it
comments.
Doesn't do any good. It's not very productive, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. But it was certainly clear that with the people commenting, they didn't listen to the episode at all.
Yes, although we boosted this episode and spent $50 of our own money to kind of spread it across Facebook in a sponsored ad, that did not have a return on investment that directly related to downloads of the episode.
No, it got a lot of likes.
It got a lot of likes. It got some good comments. But not any more listens than usual.
That's right. People just saw a marketing picture that they didn't like, a stock photo, and they just started spewing venom and reacting. We responded to many comments, and people didn't respond back to our comments. They didn't seem interested in having any discussion. Honestly, it's like people that leave bad reviews on home goods or appliances that they buy, and the folks that are happy with it just don't say anything at all. So they're quiet.
And believe me, I understand this. I have been in reputation management for a number of years in the property management world, and still today in the property management world, where I actually respond and regulate and solicit Google reviews for property management companies. Okay? Not everybody leaves a good review. There's a lot of bad reviews. And it seems like when you tick off a resident or tick off a person, they're more apt to leave you a bad review. That's why we work that much harder to get the good reviews. So we completely understand the lack of positive supporting comments. We totally get that.
It's a little sad, though, because looking at reviews, it makes you wonder, is that the reality? Or is that just one side of the story?
Mm-hmm.
So some people are mad no matter what. They'll never be pleased by anything. They're looking for reasons to be mad or unhappy. So the masculinity episode we did a few months ago didn't garner nearly the same response. Why is that? Now, we didn't boost that post. I will admit that. But there was nothing seemingly wrong with that one or many of the other posts that we've had to that point. And this one seemed to really strike a chord, like we said earlier. But men and women both have a vested interest in each other's roles and issues, as well as they should. Our issues and opportunities definitely affect one another. If I've never been homeless, am I not allowed to try and help the homeless? Am I not allowed to vote on that or fight for something that I believe is helpful? You know, so don't exclude a large portion of the population because, oh, well, they just can't understand because they've never been through this. Well, that's not entirely an accurate description. So just wanted to make that call out.
So what do we believe? Let's just kind of clear this up, take a little bit deeper dive than the 20 minutes that we had in the femininity episode. True. We tend to be more on the traditional side in many things. But certainly, we believe in supporting each other above all else. Why? The discussion that we had was simply about our family dynamic, and we aren't telling anyone how to think or how to run their family or what they should believe. We want the discussion to be thought-provoking, not triggering. Just to be clear, we absolutely do not believe in just going back to the 1950s. And many people have a lot of misconceptions about that. There were simpler times in the past, but maybe they were doing some things right. You can't go back in time, but you can incorporate tried and true methods and practices into your life.
That's why I like listening to vinyl.
This is true. Exactly. And like I said before, I do not tend to vacuum my home in heels and an apron. I generally have a martini glass in my hand.
And that was what was in your picture, was the heels.
Exactly.
And
we'll get to that.
It's just a photo.
We'll get to that. I've been in marketing for over a decade. We'll get to that. Traditional femininity is a set of attributes, behaviors, and roles generally associated with women and girls. We outlined these in our episode with our own twist from our personal lives and some research.
So like we said before, people reacted to a stock photo that we posted that was intentionally meant to get their attention and capture people. It's marketing 101.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You want to stop the scroll that people do on their phones.
Exactly.
Or computers.
We live in a very distracted world.
I'm sorry, what?
So what are you going to do to stop the scroll on Facebook? Duh.
Well, because many of our other episodes felt like, are these just too vanilla? Like nobody
I guess so, man. I thought I was good at my job before, but evidently they...
Well, you posted a Spartan Warrior on the masculinity photo and nobody said a word. It's I guess that's okay. But it just seems like some people don't want to read the articles. They're not interested in the content. They don't want the context of this quote that's out there or this headline. And so they don't want to listen to these episodes and the discussions, even though it's 20 minutes or less in most cases on our podcast. But they do see a picture or a headline and they just snap into action. They just react, right? So
it kind of makes you look like a dummy. Sorry.
Or a miserable person. And I feel bad for you.
Yeah. I
don't really react to anything online. I don't spend that much time on Facebook.
Exactly.
I've got other things
Well, maybe that's why we got more likes, than the trolls commenting, because the people that like the posts feel the same way that we do, and they're not sitting there on social media all day.
They just clicked the button and moved on
and
did
move
their
on
own thing.
with their lives.
So the truth is, you could ignore something that you don't like, or perhaps you don't judge people for something they say. Maybe you could listen and understand first before you post a reaction. Or, I don't know, you could ask a few questions to clarify something, right? We all know that text doesn't really capture tone of voice, and you don't get a full sentence or a full conversation to understand what somebody means. So you could certainly dive into it a little bit more. And we just wanted to be really clear about what our beliefs and values were, and not just all these knee-jerk reactions and comments online. It can become really negative and even political, but it's not productive at the end of the day.
Exactly. And that is why you and I don't tend to comment and engage on a lot of things.
Right.
Even with friends and family, because...
So we're guilty of what we're talking about.
We are guilty. We are guilty.
Yeah.
At the same time, but in both directions, whether we support something or whether we're against something, we don't comment because
really
it's not productive. It's not productive. What's it going to do? You're not going to change my mind.
No, and in fact, you tend to strengthen somebody's beliefs on something when you react negatively and you try to lecture people or be hateful or whatever. It just only hurts your own cause and strengthens their beliefs. And so we don't want to step on toes. We're not trying to be provocative in any way. We all need to listen and respect each other's opinions and experiences and really try and learn from one another. And we have to do that from conversation rather than just shutting people down.
We will continue to post topics of discussion as they come up. And some may be topics that we plan out. With so many extreme examples out there on different issues, typically the truth lies somewhere in the middle. There was a time that we could disagree with each other respectfully and perhaps still learn something. We can read something that we don't agree with and still learn about someone else's struggles. Not everything needs to be us versus them and be so black and white or right versus wrong.
We did an episode on this before. Some of you may remember the victim mindset or fixed mindset versus the growth or abundance mindset. So this is sort of catching steam out there in the self-improvement space, I think.
And I think that I even referenced this in one of our responses to one of the comments about our lifestyle and how we were able to go from 2 full-time incomes down to 1 full-time income, now 1.5, let's be honest.
Yeah.
But and that is the growth mindset. All these people that say I can't, or I can't do this, I can't do that, and why not? Why not?
We're doing things this year and last year that we never, ever dreamed possible. It wasn't even a thought because it wasn't even worth the conversation and the brain power.
Exactly.
We never thought it possible, and we continue to surprise ourselves, and I think others, that we tell about the things we're doing and the things we've already done, to be honest, and going down to 1 vehicle, working from home, taking a trip to Yellowstone in an RV. That was never a thought before. Homeschooling our kid was never a conversation.
And I feel like we are extremely honest on social media with people of this is our financial situation. This is the crap that we got ourselves into.
Some of the goals we have.
Exactly.
And some of the
but
things
this is also how we're going to get ourselves out.
Right.
That right there in and of itself is the growth mindset.
We still catch ourselves and those around us playing the victim and complaining with no purpose or solution. It's complaining just to complain. You're commiserating, which is fine to a point. I think all people should have friends or family that they can rely on and bend their ear for a short time.
Everybody needs a little bit of empathy.
Absolutely.
When I say I'm tired, I really do want someone to empathize with the fact that I'm freaking tired.
But if you come to that same person over and over, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired, how long are you going to put up with that?
Yeah.
People of high value, and again, we're not lecturing anybody or putting anybody down, but we don't have time for that stuff. After a while, you need to help yourself. I can certainly help you, give you advice, but if you're not interested in that or interested in improving your situation, I don't really want to hear about it anymore. It's
I mean, I'll coach you, but I do have an hourly rate.
Right. So
can you afford me?
I don't think I can, honestly. It's fun to do something that we might be deemed polarizing on, but look, we didn't intend it to be that way when we set out with this episode or anything else. It was tough at first not to take some of the comments and reactions personally, but at the end of the day, we're focused on our purpose and our mission, so we don't really have time to judge other people for theirs. If people have a system that works for them, great, go for it. Absolutely, more power to you. We have never claimed to be experts, but at least we know where we stand.
In this week's call to order, take stock of the things that you believe and what you are willing to share. What's popular may not be what you believe, but do you know the difference? This week, write down 3 things that you feel strongly about that may or may not be popular. Why do you believe in them? If your beliefs are challenged, how do you respond? Do you even know what experiences have led to your beliefs? It might be a good time to really evaluate what you believe and why. If you're ready for your marriage and family dynamic to thrive and not just survive, all it takes is 20 minutes or less joining us each week. It begins with a journey of self-improvement while you sit in the carpool lane, commute to work, squeeze in a workout, or get halfway through folding that laundry pile. Be sure to check out the blog at thefamilyorder.com and follow us on Facebook at The Family Order. If you're ready to start your journey, be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss new episodes every Monday.